So the other day, I made World Series for the first time this year in MLB The Show 21. I've been playing ranked seasons, my main mode in MLB The Show for a couple of years now, but I'm someone who makes World Series every season. I'm not the best player, I'll make that clear, but I am a World Series player who can really make it anytime I want to. And for anyone who is new to the game, people who have been playing ranked for a while who are struggling to make World Series, anyone who's trying to get to this point in ranked seasons, today I have all the tips for you. I'm going to break down ranked seasons, how it works, go through the difficulties and the ratings in case you are confused on that still. Also, I will be giving you some of the pointers that I kind of learned from making the World Series push this year. Obviously, ranked season works a little bit differently here. MLB Show 21. And let's talk about everything ranked seasons and all tips to help you all get better at it. Let's do it. YouTube, what is going on? We are back with another video. In case you are brand new to the channel and don't know me, my name is Scann and I do upload daily MLB Show videos, or at least close to daily, with tips, things like that to help you all get better at the game. So in case you are brand new, if not, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you go down there, hit that button down there. It helps support the channel. Just in general, I do have a ton of videos on here to hopefully help you all get better at the game. Also, I do stream on Twitch every day at 1 p.m. If you want to come hang out with me, watch me play ranked seasons live on stream and things like that, come check out the channel down below. Come hang out with us. It is a fun time. And without keeping any longer, let's talk about our ranked seasons tips. Okay, so there are a few things I want to discuss in this video. First, we have our difficulties and just in general how the point system works. Then we'll talk about my tips that I learned to help me make that final push to World Series, and just give you guys general squad tips like who you should be using on your team to help you guys make that final push. So first of all, let's talk about our ratings and how they all work. So I'm on the ranked season screen. You have two separate avenues to earn rewards this year, which is super cool. First, if you get 40 wins, you'll gradually work your way through the program here, and you'll get a World Series pack. And I'm not sure if in later seasons they're going to change this to less wins, but 40 wins here gives you the World Series awards, which are the most prized rewards in rank. Right now, they're very cheap, but as the year will go on, they will become more and more wanted and good cards as they go on and progress the cards throughout the year. So right now, you will only bank about 40 something K if you make World Series or get this pack. But honestly, down the road, these will be more and more expensive since the players will be better and more wanted. And this is just straightforward. It's just getting 40 wins. This, you don't need to be amazing to get this done, which is a cool plus. However, we are here talking about the rating, ranked seasons, and just in general trying to get to World Series rating. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about with ranked seasons is our difficulties and our ratings. So first of all, the rating is just a number that determines your overall ranking. It's like ranked points. You win a game, you get points. You lose a game, you lose points. And as the season and the ratings go on, the amount of points you gain and lose will be very different depending on your difficulty. So for example, I found that playing in spring training or so will give you a lot more ranked points if you win than say being in the 900s. That is just in general how you will be gaining points. You win games, you will make points. So obviously the goal is to get as many points as possible to get to 900 rating. Next, we need to focus on the different divisions that we have and the difficulties in those divisions. So the thing with ranked seasons that is different in other modes is that there are scaled difficulties. You'll start off at veteran difficulty here in spring training. So if you are between 0 and 199 rating, you're on veteran difficulty, one of the lowest difficulties in the game, and it's absolute chaos. But this is for people who are just hopping on for the first time or people who really struggle. Once you reach 200 rating and reach regular season division, from here up until 699 rating, you will have all-star difficulty games. So that means that if the higher rating of the two opponents in the game is in this scale of divisions, then that means that your game is going to be on all-star difficulty. Hall of Fame difficulty will be from 700 rating up until 899 rating. Legend difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty in the game, is for 900 difficulty and on. So this means if you are in those ranges of difficulty in those divisions, then you're going to most likely play on those difficulties. But there is a big change with how ratings work this year. Higher rated person in a game now determines the difficulty. What that means is, for example, say you are 600 rating In this rating, you should be playing on all-star difficulty. You can match up with an opponent who is above 700 rating, who's like 705 in Division Series, where the difficulty is Hall of Fame and not all-star. You can match up with them, and since the higher division is in here, where it's Hall of Fame difficulty, then that means that the game will be on Hall of Fame and not all-star. So that means if you are kind of close to these little barriers, I guess we'll call them, you should kind of be practicing both that current difficulty and the next difficulty. So if you're at about 600 rating, you should be prepared to match up with someone in 700 and do a little bit of practice for Hall of Fame. If you're trying to make World Series, be prepared around 800 rating to match up with players above 900 and playing on Legend difficulty. It's a new change this year, whether you like it or not. That's just kind of how it works now. It's different than years past. That's how it works. And that is basically it. You will be gaining points for going up through the rankings if you win a lot of games. Obviously, if you lose points, you'll be moving backwards. And a lot of people will find themselves hover in a division, depending on how much they try. But I'm a firm believer that if you really play enough, if you practice enough, a lot of people can make World Series. And obviously, there isn't as much as I want for it now with the win rewards part of rank. I still think going for a World Series is a fun part of the game, and just in general helps everyone become better players. Now that we have the ratings and the difficulties down, let's talk about our tips to make World Series. So I made World Series the other week. I even struggled a little bit in my first season here. Hall of Fame, Legend difficulty seems a little different this year, a little more difficult, which I think is a fun little change, but also means it may be a little more difficult for people to make World Series. So this is in general my general tips to help you guys make this World Series push easier. First of all, like I kind of mentioned before, once you're at 700 rating and you're guaranteed to be playing Hall of Fame and above games, you should go into your main menu here, go into offline practice here, go into custom practice, and hit some batting practice a lot of times before you hop on ranked seasons. Take some warm-up swings, try to practice your swing timing, and just learn how to time up these pitches and get a feel for the difficulty. Both that difficulty and the next difficulty up are worth practicing. Good skill to have to be prepared for Legend when you're making a World Series push, because there's a great chance you'll be at like 850 rating and you match up with someone who is already in World Series at like 905 rating. So you kind of got to be prepared for that to make World Series. And custom practice here will be your best friend to do that. I do have other hitting tips which will help with this. If you are struggling with hitting or pitching, check out the rest of the channel. I do have a video out there that'll probably help you. Another thing that a lot of people don't know of with ranked seasons is adjusting the bar. So I'll show you an example here. I'll search for a game. You could limit the range of the ratings you're searching for. So what I mean by that is this little bar here. It says the minimum and the max rating for your opponent. If you're in a World Series push, what you should be trying to do is move this bar. You hit the left stick or whatever on Xbox, and you want to make that bar all the way to the left. You're limiting the range of difficulties that you can match up with. The main reason we want to do this, because when you aren't in World Series yet, say you're at like 800 rating, you reduce this bar to the left. Now that entire range of ratings, which could be deep into the 900s and then below 700, is becoming smaller and smaller. So now when you're searching for games, you're only playing people who are close to you, similar skill level, and also in general for difficulty's sake, you're not matching up with people above 900, so you have a reduced risk of playing on Legend. Just in general, this is a good thing to pay attention to. Up until about 850 rating, you can kind of avoid that 900 rating threshold with moving the bar left and right. So keeping that bar small to the left will allow you to search for less people. May take a little longer to search, but it'll make your push a little easier because you're actually playing against people who are in the mid 800s more likely than people who are making top 50 pushes in like the 900s, thousands ratings. Another thing with ranked that a lot of people talk about is play when you're hot. So that means when you hop on, say you play a ranked game, you just want to see how it goes, and you have like a really good game. Say you score like 10 runs, pitch a hell of a game, things like that, and you know you're playing well and you played that game very well. A lot of people, what they like to do is stay hot. They'll keep playing while they're playing well and capitalize on those good nights. Just like any real baseball, you have those stretches where you're playing really well and you're on fire. Then you have those stretches where you're kind of not as much. So take advantage of those good days. Try to move up the ratings as much as possible, and hopefully, things click for you more so than not to help you make that final push. Now, the final thing I want to tell you guys is give you guys some good little tips when choosing players you want to use for ranked seasons, especially in a World Series push where you're playing on a Hall of Fame and Legend difficulty. You kind of got to choose the right kind of players, because if you're choosing the wrong type, you're going to have a lot harder time pitching and hitting. So let me go to my squad screen and show you the kind of things I like to choose when choosing a team. You want to try to use guys who have high contact. Obviously, not only high contact, ideally you want to have a hitter who has good contact and good power. But one thing that contact adjusts since last year is the size of your PCI. So that means if you have a hitter with higher contact, that PCI will be a lot bigger. So with a bigger PCI, that means you're going to make easier contact with the ball. It's easier to make good swings with a big PCI rather than a small PCI with a guy like Joey Gallo here who has sub 60 contact. So if you're looking for players to add to your team, looking to make some changes, look for guys who have like above 70, 80 contact whenever possible. Obviously, if you somehow hit really well with someone who does have below that contact, keep them on your team. But if you're struggling, if you're striking out a lot, missing a lot of PCIs, I recommend choosing guys who have high contact. Another thing that really becomes an important thing is velocity. When you're playing on all-star difficulty and you're not really pushing for ranked seasons, maybe you're playing BR, whatever the difficulty or purpose you're playing for is, you will find that velocity on good fastballs a lot of times won't matter. The pitch speeds are so slow in all-star and things like that. It's very easy for good hitters on All-Star to catch up and time a pitch very easily. On Hall of Fame and Legend difficulty, it's kind of where people start to struggle. Even some good players have a tough time catching up to high velocity on Hall of Fame and Legend. So this is a good little thing to have on your team. Obviously, you don't need it. I think that velocity is a big deal because some guys who have lower velocity actually seem a little better on Hall of Fame just because those pitch speeds are faster. For example, I like Fernando Valenzuela because his breaking ball mix. He doesn't have the most velocity though, but he seems a little better because those pitch speeds are faster. You mix up breaking balls properly, that fastball will seem a lot faster than 92 if you're throwing mostly breaking balls. But if you are looking for pitchers, a good thing to always look for is velocity. So guys like Aroldis Chapman, who has 98-mile-per-hour fastball, is a very good option for your bullpen because of that outlier. He has outlier on his four-seam fastball. So he'll be throwing over 100 miles an hour, which a lot of people struggle with on Hall of Fame and Legend. Guys like Rob Dibble as well. He's only a gold, but he does have outlier on that fastball as well. He throws over 100 miles per hour with it. Also, another thing with these velocities, a big deal, is speed differentials. So you want to choose pitchers that have a wide range of pitch speeds whenever possible. I love Rob Dibble because he has 3 pitches, but with 3 pitches, he has a fastball that goes over 100 miles an hour, a cutter which looks a lot like a fastball that only goes 92. So it's really tough to time on Hall of Fame and Legend 100-mile-per-hour fastball and then time up a cutter that looks like a fastball most of the way that's only 92 miles an hour. And he has a slider that's in the mid-80s, so look for things like this with pitchers. And I will be making more lineup tip videos down the road to kind of help you guys, but in general, just kind of make a balanced lineup of lefties and righties whenever possible. I know some people like to do platooning, which is something you may want to try, where say you have a hitter like Vlad Jr. here who is really good versus righties. If I face a left-handed pitcher, I could put someone on my bench who is good versus lefties, for example, Justin Turner, and I could play him at third base over Vlad Jr. for that matchup. Obviously, though, this isn't for everyone. Take this at your own risk, but it is definitely worth trying. And that is most of the tips I have for a World Series push. I think I touched on everything that I like to focus on when I'm playing ranked, trying to make these pushes. Keep in mind that, first of all, it is not super easy to do this. A lot of people can't make World Series. Don't feel bad about yourself if you can't do it. Sometimes it takes a lot of games for people to do it. Some people who are really good can make it really quick. Another thing is just be consistent, play as much as you can. If you want to make World Series, you're probably going to want to make ranked seasons your main mode, just because most people will need more games and more time to practice to get there. So if you want to make it, try to only play ranked whenever possible. Maybe dabble in some BR and events if you really want to, but make this your focal point because it is more difficult to do. And finally, at the end of the day, a key with being good at ranked is showing confidence and composure. You got to be confident in yourself as a hitter and a pitcher to succeed. If you are nervous, if you're scared with a high rated game, maybe you're just not confident in yourself, you just assume you suck. I find that those kind of people usually struggle more. Being a good hitter and pitcher in MLB The Show requires you to be confident in yourself and your approach and realize that, yes, there is some risk and like maybe you aren't the best player out there, but maybe you have a good confidence that you're a good hitter and that you're good enough to make World Series. I will say this, you're good enough to make World Series. Yeah, you watching this video. I promise you, you're good enough. If no one else is going to tell you, I'm going to tell you, you're good enough to do it. I've seen a lot of people make World Series with like actual butt cheek records. It's a lot more possible than people make it seem. Play enough games, practice enough. I believe in you. You can make World Series. Hopefully this video helped you guys. I appreciate you watching if you made it through this point. If you learned something new, make sure you like it. Maybe if you know someone who is trying to get better at ranked or just in general want to share this video out, hopefully I taught you something new here. Have a great rest of your day. If you're looking for other tips, take a look at the channel. I have a lot of hitting, pitching tips, gameplay tips to help you all get better, which will help you with this kind of thing. So it's all kind of compounds on itself. Deuces.